What's up, witches? It's Luna here with an unboxing that will hopefully help to lift me out of the doldrums of late January, and I hope it'll do the same thing for you. This, if my thing will let me, okay, this is a deck called the Cantigee Oracle, and one of the advantages of getting older and not remembering shit from 1 minute to the next is that I can receive a gift and kind of look through some things, and by the time I get around to unboxing it, I've forgotten everything. The only thing I remember, because I looked for it, is, sorry for the glare, I will lift up, is that this is pronounced Cantigee, the Cantigee Oracle, an ecological spiritual guide and creative prompt deck. Written by Ray Diamond, art by Laura Zuspan. And I'm excited about this because I'd never heard a thing about this deck. A nice 2-part box with thumb holds. This is from one of the obscure publishers. This is from North Atlantic Books. I know zero about them. I do see, though, that the box is kind of caved in at the bottom. Bummer. A nature-based 52-card deck and guidebook for the modern seeker, and it's round. So this will be my 4th, 5th round deck, I think. I have several of them now. Each of the Cantigee Oracle deck's 52 beautifully illustrated circular cards serves as a conduit for wisdom, creativity, and spiritual nourishment. Cantigee is the song the earth sings. It's the spell it weaves, the enchantment it whispers, an invitation to deepen into ourselves, come home to our place within the living earth, and exist in right relationship with the natural world. Right away, the writing is very clear, easy to read. Grounded in nature-based archetypes like the self-tending fire, the juniper caduceus, and the voice of the moon, the Cantigee Oracle offers you a space to reattune, reflect, and reconnect to your own inner world, to yearnings and inspirations, and to the earth that sustains us all. Each card in this versatile deck can be used as an individual icon, inspiration for ecological activism, a weekly practice, or a seed for creative and contemplative practice. Together, they can be used as an ongoing guided practice, bringing healing and connection to support your fullest, truest self in harmony with nature and in service to the greatest good for all. Amazing. So it's the categories divination, nature therapy, and inspiration. So this, in NorthAtlanticBooks.com, I will certainly be going there to see if they have any other decks. The box is just white inside. Here's the book. Whoo! That's a chunk. Just plain on the back. The copyright on this is 2022, fairly new. And look at the contents. Wow. So we have an introduction about Cantigee, how to use this book, methods of working with Cantigee, how to work with this deck, oracle hygiene, interesting, Cantigee spreads and Cantigee as a yearly cycle. And then we have the archetypes, which are the cards, gratitude, resources about the creators. So let's read about them first. Ray Diamond is a multidisciplinary artist, creative and spiritual mentor, Qigong teacher, and natural advocate. Their work stems from their lifelong study of language, symbols, archetypes, energy, Buddhist Dharma, Chinese medicine, intonation, loving kindness, nature, and their feral past as a homeless punk musician in the 1990s. Wow! Find her creative work at raydiamond.com and connect with her teaching and healing work at ray13diamond.com. Now, I noticed in the beginning they're talking about they and then she, so we have fluid pronouns here. Laura Zuspan is an artist, oracle, and meditator. She is the creator of Luminous Void Tarot, featured in Taschen's Library of Esoterica, and selected for preservation in the distinctive collections of MIT libraries. Wow! For the last decade, she has worked with individuals using the tarot in healing through the lens of art, embodied awareness, and symbolism. She is a student of mindfulness meditation, practicing within the Thai forest tradition of Buddhism. She lives on unceded Ohlone territory with her family in Oakland, California. Wow, this is really cool. And, finding out that Ray Diamond is, both of them talk about Buddhism, Chinese medicine. This is really vibrating with me as I'm undergoing acupuncture for the first time ever. So, the only thing that I've learned here, I started reading this very first thing about Cantigee. Welcome. Thank you for choosing to engage with this offering of images, ideas, stories, and energies. We hope you enjoy working with these archetypes and concepts. May they bring you to healing and inspiring discoveries that support you in being your fullest, truest self in harmony with nature and in ways that are for the greatest good of all. Did that? That part of that is, what is Cantigee? And then they have the pronunciation. Cantigee is a word created from two roots. Cantus, a word that can be translated as song, spell, or enchantment, and G, a suffix that translates as earth. Thus, Cantigee is as a song the earth sings, a spell it weaves, an enchantment it emanates. This deck, this book, and all of the archetypes within them are prayers of gratitude, healing, and awakening. Cantigee as a concept, however, spans far beyond the 52 archetypes of this deck and book. If the earth is singing a song, then every pebble, every leaf, every whisker, every fang, every storm, every crash of wave, every microbe, every wing beat, every shimmer of light on ice, and each and every one of us is a melody within that immense chorus. I love this. Being a musician and a singer, I really love this. The best we can possibly offer the earth is to listen to its song, and in listening to its song, let it enchant and inspire us. And in letting it enchant and inspire us, let a melody come through us that is at once both entirely of us and yet somehow beyond what we could have ever imagined on our own. Then there's the history. Cantigee began as a friendship woven, as all friendships are, by the unseen forces of resonance, attunement, and care. I'll just read this first paragraph. One morning in 2014, before going to work at a local herb shop, the thought came to me like an internal shout. I'd like to meet someone different from anyone I know. Later, when Laura came into the herb shop, tall and vibrant as a queen, I knew she was that person. Normally, I'm shy and mousy, but twice I've felt called to confidently give my card to someone and say, let's meet up. This was one of those times. We remained friends over the years, inspired by both our differences and our similarities. Laura identifies as a witch, while I see myself as a studious fool on the hill. But we are both zany artists and teachers inspired by nature, Buddhism, and that which is mysterious and unseen. And we both share a deep concern for the well-being of the natural environment. In 2018, Laura produced a beautiful watercolor tarot deck, the Luminous Void Tarot. I have heard of that. Later that year, she wanted to create an oracle deck too, but she wanted a collaborator in that endeavor. Meanwhile, I'd created a series of absurd, fantastical writings that were poems, stories, dreams, jokes, and spells all at once. Each morning, I crouched on the floor of my kitchen, drank quarts of tea, and wrote these while the world fell apart around me. Wow. The environment was collapsing, my country was in shambles, my marriage was spontaneously combusting, my health was shaky, my business drained me without supporting me, my cat was ill with no foreseeable cure, and all the while I supported several members of my family through a series of tragic, tedious, and precarious health and life crises. These writings emerged as a garden of shimmering blooms and butterflies that delighted and surprised me in the midst of great personal, societal, and global darkness. What a wonderful story of maintaining your own joy and claiming your happy place, even while. And, at times when everything's fallen apart, that is the time when it is most vital to maintain that happy place and do that radical self-care. Okay. I'll leave the rest for you to discover. Then we have philosophies underlying Cantigee, and we have italics. We create lasting change from the foundation up. Mindfulness teaches us. Care motivates us. Creativity is the source of innovation and therefore of change. Wow. Okay. I'm going to read this paragraph. Creating and sustaining evolutionary change in society requires three interrelated developments on the individual level. 1, clear, accurate awareness and acceptance of what is. Yes. 2, care. And 3, creativity. Mindfulness helps you learn to see yourself, others, and the world more clearly, but that alone does not inspire you to take right action. It is care, an emotional impetus, that inspires you to let go of what is harmful and to take action toward what is helpful. And it's your creativity that sparks innovation and therefore change. I'm just, wow. So the paragraph doesn't much expand on that statement. Practice transforms knowledge into understanding and mastery, which enables us to creatively and skillfully improvise and innovate as things unfold. Compassionately observing and understanding our overriding tendency to desire and strive for more of what we enjoy inspires skillful action that connects us to the infinite abundance of what is already present. Generosity enables true prosperity. Wow. Because of multiple perspectives and because everything continues to unfold and change, thinking in terms of good and bad is inaccurate and therefore destructive to your well-being and the well-being of others. Yes. I'm really excited about this. All of nature unfolds in infinite centripetal cycles of ebb and flood, waxing and waning with rare, brief moments of apex and nadir. Wow. His inspirations. First and foremost, a lifetime of devoted observation of nature informs Cantigee. You'll also find themes inspired by concepts and techniques from Buddhism, Taoism, yoga, animism, the arts, and science. I make a deep and humble bow of gratitude and respect to all teachers of these philosophies who have informed my work. I make a deep and humble bow to all those working to protect and tend nature through legislation, research, education, and informed, skillful action within ecosystems. I make a deep and humble bow of gratitude and respect also to all Indigenous people. Thank you for living in harmony with the natural world and for showing the rest of us that symbiotic collaboration between humanity and the environment is possible. Indeed, it is necessary. Oh, wonderful. Then we have how to use this book, consider it a practicum. The most positive and radical actions are stillness, observation, and quiet. For each archetype, you'll find an image, a thread of story, an explanation, an offering of guidance, practices that connect you with the idea and energy of the archetype, creative prompts for artists, makers, and other creative folks, and environmental reflection or action you can take in alignment with the archetype, and ways to use this archetype as an icon to help call in specific energies, perspectives, reminders, inspirations, and healings in your life and circumstances. That paragraph is one sentence, but it's clear. All right. Methods of working with Cantigee. As a yearly practice, as a deck of icons, as a spiritual and personal development tool, and as a creative prompt deck. And then as a means of deepening your relationship with nature. And she has bullet points under each one of these things, or under the last three at least. How to work with this deck. It says to use this deck, you might just dive in, shuffle the deck, draw some cards, and let the images sing to you one by one. Then they might start to come together in chorus and give you a guiding soundtrack for your inquiry. I just love the metaphor of music. Or you might imagine for a moment that you're a great raptor flying high over your spread of cards, assessing the lay of the land and what it might hold for you. In that case, you'll want to understand the structure of the deck. So the overarching structure, 52 archetypes that follow the basic cyclical pattern of nature, waxing from void to apex and diminishing from peak expression back into nothingness. Bird's eye view of your spread. Okay, so there are two turning point cards. The dark solstice sun as the nadir, and the exploding star number 27 as the zenith. 25 building phase cards, which are archetypes 2 through 26, dark solstice sun is 1, and 25 waning phase cards from 28 to 52. In any spread of these cards, you can therefore quickly achieve a bird's eye view and see what predominates there. Then flying a little closer, dark solstice sun pertains to the winter solstice, the nadir. Then archetypes 1 through 4 and 49 through 52 indicate a dark phase. So it's just one big cycle. I love this. 49 through 52 is a time of waning into nothing. 2 to 4, the most subtle movements of growth and renewal. 5 to 9 pertain to midwinter, about 3 to 4 days after the new moon. So it goes through those. Then swooping down. So music and birds. I just love, okay, oracle hygiene. If you eat food that was prepared in a dirty kitchen by stressed out, anxious cooks who didn't wash their hands before preparing your meal, you won't feel so well afterward. But if you eat food that was made with love and care, you'll enjoy it while you eat it, feel nourished by it afterward, and remember it fondly. Similarly, employing good hygiene in your space, yourself, your deck, and your book, both before and during your divination, will ensure a nourishing and inspiring experience that you'll be more likely to remember when you most need it. So now we have a food and nourishment metaphor. So this tells me, this author clearly knows how to speak in symbol, and I love that. A clean start. So cleansing of your space, your deck, and your book. And then invite benevolence through prayer, thought, or song. Ask that your consulting of the oracle and all that unfolds from your consulting of it be only for the greatest good of all. Yes. Then asking the right question. How you might support a graceful unfolding of your situation. Ask for clarity and understanding of yourself and the evolutionary actions you might take within your situation. Ask for tools and acceptance and understanding. Ask to be shown how to support the greatest good. So wonderful. And then preparing the cards. As you shuffle the cards in any manner you enjoy. Keep your breath long in any manner you enjoy. That brings up a big point about decks that are impossible to shuffle. It is fucking with your mindset as you're trying to be mindful and open and relaxed and, approach a reading with joy. Struggling with shuffling a deck can just suck the joy right out of it. So, good point. There are many styles of drawing cards. You can draw from only the top, fan the cards out and pick one, cut the deck before drawing each one, decide how many cards you'll pull, deal them into many piles, then use the top card, divide it into 2 piles with archetypes 1 through 26 in one, that which is building, and 27 through 52 in the other, that which is decreasing. Caring attendance. Attend to yourself throughout the consultation. Take note of whether you like, dislike, or feel neutral towards the archetypes in your spread. Yes, pay attention to how you're reacting to it. Take note of what you feel resistance to. Look into what feels new. Periodically take note of and adjust your breath if necessary. Now the Cantigee spreads. Nature-inspired spreads, 1 card, building and decreasing, and then the bridge between earth and sky. Sky, bridge, earth. Cool. Then we have a tree. Root, trunk, canopy, blossom, fruit, bud. Then we have skeleton. Spine, hind limbs, forelimbs, head, tail. Or we have spine, legs, arms, head, tail. Very interesting layout. Then we have the bioregion map. Wow. Create a map of your situation by choosing any or all of the bioregions below. Pick the ecosystem systems that resonate with your situation. We have desert, mountain, field, forest, cave, Arctic, tropic, island, swamp, estuary, river, lake, and ocean. Then we have weather patterns. Fascinating. Lunar context. Earth, new moon, first quarter full, last quarter, and then sun. That's cool. There's a lot here. Western elements, earth, air, fire, water, ether. Taoist elements, water, wood, fire, earth, metal. Buddhist elements, earth, water, fire, air. Cantigee as a yearly oracle. Amazing. The dark solstice sun, the ending beginning archetype. And then we're into the cards. So we don't get any like, here starts the cards. So, and it looks like with each one we get the title, a subtitle. There's writing in italics, and then there's keynotes, which are keywords. Oh, then we have symbology, guidance, as an icon, as a portal, and practice. And we've got this little, so there's a key at keynote. Symbology has a little heart with an eye. Guidance is a spiral. That's a Willendorf Venus. As an icon, as a portal, we got a keyhole. And as a practice, somebody sitting in full lotus. Then we have creative prompt with a quill pen and ecological connection. That's why this book is so fat. It is packed. Okay, here we have the card backs, which you see is kind of this free-form spider web with just sort of a blob in the middle. Doesn't really look like anything like earth or whatever. So look at these watercolor images. Very organic. I mean, we can certainly tell that this is a sun image because of the rays. But in the middle, it's just kind of a blobby. You can tell that she's put things on and blown them with the straw. I love it. So there's the dark solstice sun. Then we have, you don't know where you are, but you are free. So there's a woman with a blindfold, indicating the I don't know where I am, and a snake. But look at the dance. Then we have number 3, the dawn that follows the prolonged night. They're very responsive. You know, I see this and the palette and just the image, whether it's something recognizable or not, I feel a response. 4 is primary nourishment. It's all titties. Oh my God. The circle of bubes to nourish us. I love it. And that is primary nourishment for mammals, right? Then number 5 is the living mountain. Oh. Every star is a doorknob. Guided by Polaris, the North Star. A swan in a crowd of crows. Wow, they're very evocative. So using it as creative prompts, I could totally see. Right away, I'm thinking about, what does that mean? What do I think about it? 9 is the voice of the moon. And look at the heart here. There's a heart, and that looks kind of like a fetus. Maybe. The infinite web. All intelligent tentacles. Wow. I mean, my mind is just going nuts. I could go off with each one of these, but I'm not gonna. Licking dew from green leaves. Your delight charms the world. When you are joyful, this is why it's not selfish to be joyful. When you are joyful, you literally bring more joy into the world. Period. You make it a more joyful place. The chasm shrinks as you step across. I love it. Yeah, this is a statement of they don't throw out the net till you're falling. When you take that leap of faith, when you take that step of faith, things change. Your pinky finger turns into a bird. Okay, now that one stopped my brain because I don't have any freaking idea. I'm going to look this one up. Sorry. Okay. Keynotes say develop an untapped or underdeveloped strength or skill in order to access greater freedom. The symbology is human hands are magic. We can do so many things because of our hands. They developed in tandem with our brain. This archetype relates to developing the less used capacities of our being and seeing how far they can take us. We all have a pinky finger, but most of us don't use it for much other than supporting the other fingers. What if you used your pinky finger more? What would you be capable of? How might those capabilities change how you perceive yourself in the world around you? So good. A charmed leap. I love the looseness of the artwork. A swarm of bees. A fierce desert flower. I mean, think about the meanings in that. blooming in spite of, where things are prickly and dry and inhospitable, and we bloom in spite of it. The moss cauldron. Your heart in sync with cricket song. Kissed by whale spray. The luminous brew. Pollination. I don't know that I've ever seen another deck that has pollination in it. Incredible. The juniper caduceus. There we go. Touching the star-kissed leaf. You are seen. Oh. Then we have the exploding star. So this starts the second half. This is the apex. So this was the waxing half of the deck. This is the waning half. Starts with the exploding star carried by the current. The coiled snake. The sentient nest. The self-seeing eye. Wow! The self-tending fire. Look at the hands. Roots grow from your feet. Your ears become a butterfly. A thorn in the paw. Clouds pass, but the mountain remains. Very Buddhist. A fork in the river. They do not miss their seed pods. Oh my goodness. A peach so ripe. In the garden of lost teeth. Wow. Okay, gotta know. Indication of shifting into a different phase in life, a reminder of age and aging. Teeth are classic symbols of aging. We're born without them, and so it goes on. Okay, that's all I needed to see. The calving glacier. If you don't know that term, that's what they call it when a glacier, when chunks break off and form icebergs, they call it calving. Look at the, I mean, it looks like it's crying. Wow. Snake encircles the moon. The wounded harpy eagle. Wingless, you fall into the sea. Your feet are two fish. The unburdened bones. Wow. Definitely get the idea of breaking up and dissipating in the tunnels of our ancestors. What the worms know. In the land of the vanished. Oh my. A hummingbird in languor. You don't very often see, most of the time, when most of us see hummingbirds, they are flying with those wings that go so fast that you can't even see them, and they have to constantly be refueling because they use up so much energy just to fly. But we are very lucky in that we have hummingbirds, and we also have like a grapevine out here that has very tiny, tiny little twigs at the ends, and they will come and light on branches right outside my window, so I can watch them when they're just hanging out. The setting sun sings the song of unmaking. And then the last one is you are a multitude. Wow. I'm amazed. This is a truly different deck than there are so many oracle decks, and there are so many regular things, initiation, compassion, change, just the basic, what do I want to say, titles or keywords from oracle decks. This one is very different, and it does feel very organic. It's like it grew out of the earth. So let's give her a blessing. By air and fire, may you be purified and charged. And by your very own ocean water, may you be blessed and made whole. And I feel these things blessing the earth as well. These blessings are going beyond the deck to the earth itself. And by the sound of the bell, may the spirit awaken. And I mean, I'm gonna, before I do a personal reading with this, I will put it in the bowl and ring it, because that's a really cool thing to do. All right, get that out of my way. Guides and guardians, allies and ancestors, earth beings, thank you for being here. Thank you in great gratitude for the author and the artist. I offer fresh water. I offer the fire of Azrael. Bless you for this effort. The cardstock, it's not a huge deck. I can put my hands around the whole thing. The cardstock is reasonable. It feels like cardstock, not cardboard. And I'm going to try a riffle shuffle. We'll see how it goes. They are evenly cut, but I feel like I can exactly divide them in half. I am not unhappy about that. Cool. I don't know that I can actually riffle shuffle my other round decks like that. We're going to keep doing it because it's fun. In whatever way brings you joy. Isn't that what she said? This brings me joy. Okay. And I noticed too that I didn't see anything about reverses or things, leaning one way or another. So that's totally fine. Let's do one more good riffle, and then I'm going to split and pull, because that's what feels like the right thing. Yeah, you definitely get a good randomization. Let's see, we have 27, 9, 22, 41, 3, 6. So yes, very good result from riffle shuffling this deck. So let's do a few cut shuffles. It's not as easy to cut shuffle. Interesting. That's a rarity when a deck riffles easier than it cuts. Okay. What do we need to know in order to be integrated with ourselves and the earth? What do we need to know as guardians, as citizens, as children of this earth, this ecosystem? Well, here we go. Okay. The chasm shrinks as you step across. I'm glad this came up because it really does resonate with me. I am sorry for the glare. And I'm just going to take them one at a time. All right. I think I will read the full entry for this first one, maybe. There's a lot here. You know every inch of the land you inhabit. Beautiful and familiar as it is, the ground no longer seems to hold you. Though you see your feet make contact with the earth, you feel as though you are hovering. You wander thus to the edge of your land, to a place where the earth drops away at the edge of a chasm. You've come to this spot before and gazed at the land on the other side as a curiosity, but now the sight of that far ground fills you with yearning. You long to cross the chasm, to feel that particular earth beneath you, to learn the trees and streams and byways of that other place, but the chasm is too wide to cross without a bridge or wings. Amidst the usual doubt of your mind, your body takes over, and you find yourself stepping across the chasm as if you were merely stepping over a puddle. As your foot reaches through thin air toward that distant, unknown land, space-time itself reweaves. Landforms and distance shift imperceptibly yet definitely, so that the longed-for ground that was once beyond reach is somehow right there beneath your foot, welcoming you. Just excellent writing, and it reminds me of, I do meditations from Kelly Howell. They're these binaural beat meditations. They're wonderful recordings, and there's one called, I think it's Retrieve Your Destiny, and is that the one? Anyway, it has you walking across this desert, and you've got this big, heavy thing, pack on your back, and you come to the edge of a chasm, and you look across, and there's this gorgeous, lush land, and it's just really good, and that brings it all back. Keynotes, a paradigm shift you have been longing for, but that seemed out of reach. Okay, a paradigm shift you've been longing for, but that seemed out of reach is now at hand. The time is ripe to move on to the next phase and leave the old phase behind. Take heart and have courage. What was formerly impossible is now imminent. Symbology. We live within various established patterns, such as patterns of place, relationship, career, interest, belief, community, etc. Ideally, these patterns support us and give us a way to offer ourselves to the benefit of a place and other beings. But the inevitability of change can shift things so that what once felt right no longer does. Whether a change happens within us, around us, or both, we eventually hit pivotal the pivotal moments when we need to move on from the familiar. Once we know where to move to next, it's time to take a leap. Some changes can be daunting and feel bigger than we can manage, but if you're drawn to this archetype, ... then we go into the guidance. It's time for a paradigm shift. Whatever it is you've been thinking of leaving, it's time to move on. Whatever it is you've been thinking of moving toward, it's time to take steps in that direction. Maybe you're on the brink of taking a leap of faith, or maybe you're on the brink of taking many little steps, and the leap of faith is more a matter of what needs to happen in your mind. This leads us to the first point of this archetype. Believe you can move on. Believe you can inhabit this other world. Have confidence in your vision for a different life. Change is inevitable, and when we feel its rumblings within or around us, the best response is to flow with it. However, you're human. And being human, you have this pesky thing you have to live with called fear. You can hide it somewhere or pretend it's not there, but you can't make it go away, and in fact, you need it. Fear serves important purposes like keeping you from doing unnecessarily risky things and alerting you to be mindful and careful when things are unsafe, uncertain, or unknown. In fact, it's only when you deny your fear that it can control you and keep you from doing things you know in your heart are right for you to do. If you are drawn to this archetype, it's wise to acknowledge any feelings of fear you may have. Stepping into new, unknown territory is a scary thing to do. If you accept and witness your fear, you'll be able to move forward with more compassion toward yourself, which will help smooth out the inevitable bumps and bruises that occur as we traverse unfamiliar territory. That compassion will also cultivate a more open, receptive, flowing, and creative mind and body that will get you through this new territory more gracefully than if you charge ahead stiff with unacknowledged fear. As an icon, use this image to inspire you to inhabit a new experience, both externally and internally. Let this image remind you that you know what you know. Remind you that what you know, both your internal and external landscape, is not all there is. Use this image in conjunction with walnut flower essence to support and inspire you through life transitions. Cool! As a portal, let these inquiries open you to receiving the gifts of this archetype. What if the hard things you face are easier to get through than you think? What if your fear is actually a form of excitement? Practice. Cross an actual river. Wade through it. Step across on stones or a fallen log. Swim across it. Whatever it takes, just get across. Notice how you feel before the crossing and how you feel after. Observe the near and far sides of the river, both before you cross it and afterwards, and only do it in a place where you know it's safe to do this. And wear little shoes, water shoes, please. What do you perceive about where you're going before you get there, and how is that different from what it's like actually being there? What was your first impression? What was your impression of the space you were formerly in when you were there, and how does it strike you from the far side? creative prompt, create a single piece of work in your medium that juxtaposes two different fields of expression. You might even choose to express the feeling of your current situation in one field and the feeling of a situation you're moving into or would like to move into in the other field. Consider what chasm might exist between these two fields. Is it silence, stillness, empty space, or something else entirely? And the ecological connection says, learn about points of transition by observing how they exist in nature. Visit a place where two different ecosystems meet. This could be a shoreline, a forest edge, or the borderline between a wild space and a developed urban or suburban space. Got it right there. We've got woods right next to where we live. How do these two adjacent places interact? What does it feel like to be in that liminal space with access to both worlds? Cross the chasm from dwelling in a human-ruled world to living in a humans in collaboration with nature world. Many of us have been shaping nature to serve our needs and comforts for centuries. Often we create many of us have been? Okay. No, none of us have been doing it exactly for centuries in this body. Often we create whole new land formations and ecosystems that harm the native land species and ecosystem. There are, however, ways to manipulate nature that restore and maintain harmony with the native environment. Choose one way you can manipulate nature that helps bring it into balance in some way. Here are a few ideas. Replace non-native plants in your garden with native plants. Pick up trash from a beach or other wild area. Use a trash picker and/or gloves to protect yourself. Volunteer with a local reforesting or trail restoration group. Learn and implement more sustainable gardening methods for your area. Support Indigenous people's rights to their land through Survival International, Cultural Survival, Forest Peoples Program, or a similar organization. Please see the resources section at the end of the book for more ideas. Let's do that right now. So we have a gratitude section here. And then we have resources, guide to reducing your carbon footprint. And then we have guide to cultivating a beneficial impact on your local ecosystem, flower essences, and then recommended reading, Buddhist literature, building environmental awareness on archetypes, stimulating creativity, science and sacredness of the environment, organizations to support, environmental organizations and indigenous rights organizations. Okay, I mean, this was a whole schooling in this one card and the writing about it. So let's just go now with like keywords and advice. I will pick things out so we can get a full reading because this is going to be a long one. Kissed by whale spray. Your heart in sync with cricket song. All right, let's go with those. Okay. Keynotes. You easily find yourself in the right place at the right time when you follow your heart, even when what your heart tells you goes against all logic. So it's talking about being in a boat and just that moment of, wow, to be here at the same moment that happened, that idea of, when I was studying Japanese tea ceremony, one of the slogans that they have is Ichigo Ichie, and it means one time, one place. And that this moment, this particular moment, will only happen once, ever. You know, there are so many components that make up each moment of the present time that you will never, ever repeat it again. So it calls you into mindfulness. Guidance. When you draw on this card, it's time to court the emergence of something from deep within. There's nothing that can be forced. To be sprayed by deep sea water from a whale's blowhole requires being in the right place at the right time. To attain that alchemy of space-time, engage with the water element, both literally and in the symbolic sense. Enter into the realm of the emotions. What if I allow myself to be in the right places at the right times? What if I trust my deepest knowing to emerge when the time is right? So we do talk about, that deep water. Having something sort of erupt from deep water and be a moment that calls you into awareness. All right. And your heart in sync with cricket song. Oh, it's 20. It looks like a 26. Finding your place in the world, finding what, where, whom you truly love, and true resonance. You know what? I'm tempted to read these big paragraphs here, but I'm not going to. I think you're getting enough of a vision of what goes on in this deck to know whether you want it or not, and I would be stunned if anybody doesn't want it, because wow, it is absolutely packed. Guidance says this archetype is a big yes. It indicates experiences of attunement, arrival, resonance, and belonging. So, things that we think are far distant may be way closer than we think if we just decide to take a step. We have emotions coming up from deep that we can allow to come up and spray us, and make us go, wow, make us be grateful for the moment that thing emerges from deep down, allowing deep emotional things to surface and, refresh us, or just make us grateful to be in the moment, regardless of what that emotion is. And this is the reminder that we are part of this song too, not separate from us. I'm just taking off the top now. They do not miss their seed pods. Let go of what you've created. Let it have its own life. Trust it will find its way into the world. Then we have touching the star-kissed leaf. Broaden your perspective so you simultaneously see both the vastness of all that is and your smallness within it. Star-kissed, vast space with all the billions of stars, down to this one little leaf and that connecting point of those two things. Being in both of those things simultaneously. When you are drawn to this archetype, it's time to zoom out. Sometimes you need to plug along in your life, putting one foot in front of the other, but this card indicates a need to pause the forward motion and instead rise above the path you're treading. You need a bird's eye view so you can assess how far you've come, whether you're still on course, and most importantly, to connect with a sense of wonder that can inspire you along the next leg of your journey. You will now benefit from feeling your smallness within the infinite vastness, seeing the big picture of where you are, both what you've accomplished and what is yet to be done. Connecting with possibility and potential within the boundlessness of infinity, and simultaneously feeling rooted in the reality of the present and of who you really are. Wow. Then we have a swan in a crowd of crows. And I think, did I look that one up? Let your uniqueness shine forth. Engage in your singular role in the great scheme of all that is. Yeah, don't be afraid to stand out. Recognize what makes you distinct from others and from the circumstances in which you find yourself. Rather than perceiving yourself as therefore separate, instead recognize yourself as a unique facet of the greater oneness of all that is. This deck, you guys, we have a place to get to. It's closer than we think. We can access it more easily than we ever could imagine. And there's a very special emotional moment that we need to show up for and recognize that we are part of the whole. Let our creativity out, gift our world with our creativity, and let it go and be free. Recognize that we are very, very small in the vastness, and we can also look at the big picture as we release our creativity into the universe, knowing that it will affect somebody somewhere, and that is change. And then we are here for this unique purpose. We are here not to conform and fit in. We are here to stand out because the universe, just as this one moment will never be repeated, neither will you. There's nobody with your exact combination of everything, ever in the history of the world, and never in the future either. So allow yourself to go into the big picture, and through the things that you create, see your uniqueness. At the same time, you appreciate your smallness, but that acknowledges that you're but one part in this huge song. And let your emotions well up. Let it inspire your creativity. Put your unique voice out into the world. Whatever you're after is closer than you think. Shut up. This deck, you guys, thank you, Morgana. I forgot to say, this is a Christmas gift from my daughter. And oh my word, what a beautiful deck. What do you guys think? I have a feeling that nobody will have heard of this, and I'm very happy and proud to do this unboxing so that more people can find out about it. So let's engage down below. Give me your comments. I will answer them all. And hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't. And until I see you next time on a live stream or an unboxing, this is Luna. Blessed be.